But, just collaborate. Now, one thing we never did is, we would never go against each other. So I was always like, okay, hold on. Let me go check with your mama. What did your mama say? You know what I'm saying? It was never like, I'm just going to do it. And, regardless of what she said. Because, I didn't want to face them consequences. The wrath of Margaret.
Who, me?
Yeah. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of what?
The Beyond I Do podcast.
All right.
In this episode, we are discussing an article, The 5 C's Every Marriage Needs More Of.
Yep.
We have two new segments, not one, but two new segments that we're trying. The Marriage First Minute, where we give you a quick tip to make sure you are pouring into your marriage. And my favorite, the What We're Reading moment.
Dang books.
And so we just want to share with you as we read through different books, relationship books, books from our previous guests. We want a way to share with you some of the knowledge that we receive from these things. So.
And we start with our own. How about that? Why not?
Well, duh.
All right, so here we go. In this episode, we will be discussing the article, The 5 C's All Marriages Need More Of, from the website markmorrell.com. Afterwards, we will share how we address 2 of these 5 C's.
All right, the first C is connection. Spouses must spend time together. That sounds like such an easy one. You think, well, we do spend time together. We live together.
Right.
But is all of that actually quality time?
Not all of it. I would venture to say not all of it, because, if you're doing other things and not being attentive to each other or not engaging in each other, I would think that would lead to, not spending quality time with each other.
So that's one thing that stuck out to me, is that the connection has to be quality time, and it has to be, what's your favorite word?
Intentional.
It has to be intentional to lead to that connection, because we see each other almost every day.
Yeah.
Some days we don't.
Yeah.
But we see each other, we communicate with each other daily. That doesn't mean that we're necessarily forming a connection. Sometimes it's, do you need anything from the store, or those types of things.
Yeah.
So the connection part is meaningful connection, not just being together. And we explain that, but we see posts all the time where people talk about situations in their home. And I'm thinking, how do you live with someone and this is how you all operate? So meaningful connection.
Yes.
Meaningful quality time and intentional acts of connecting.
Exactly. 2, conversation. Have frequent, meaningful conversations with your spouse. Don't avoid the hard stuff. Talk about your feelings, your stressors, your worries, and your joys. If the subject matter is too difficult, write a letter or send it in a text form. It brings me to the thought of, we just had some changes recently. If you can tell from our scenery, we have relocated a little bit. And it's a good bit.
Yeah.
So going through some of the things, trying to move, we actually moved, we'll get into all that later. But going through some of the things, I was able to come across some letters that we had written throughout the years. And, I think you had found one that I had written to you.
Yeah.
I wish I would have dated it so I'd have known.
I know
what time frame that was.
I think I have some idea of around what time frame it is. In fact, the situation that we discussed later that has to do with this C.
Yeah.
I think it was around that time.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it, it hurt me because it was a time that we were going through things, and apparently I had caused you pain. And so you were expressing that pain to me because apparently we had talked about things and you felt like I wasn't listening, I wasn't understanding. And so that was your way to better communicate to me what was going on. And I'm hoping that that then I took the time to listen and reflect and changing how I was moving. But definitely now it caused me to check in with you now to see if these things have improved. So yeah, it's good to be able to go back and see those things sometimes.
Yes, definitely. And just in that, say the conversations can be tough, they can be rough to have. You kind of like, you don't want to hurt your mate's feelings, so it's kind of hard to say things sometimes. And I know sometimes for me it was just I didn't want to change the mood because the moods were decent at the time, so it was like, well, I don't want to say nothing right now. But how long can you go without not saying anything? So, the great form of communication we came up with, it was writing letters.
And not only how long can you, like, when you let things sit like that and you don't address it, it just gets bigger and it turns into other stuff, which is what it did with us.
Right, exactly.
That brings us to number 3. The third C is compliments. Genuine compliments fuel your partner's self-esteem. Providing the boost, especially when they feel worn out, lets them know you care. And yes. I have a moment of transparency for that one.
Okay.
Right now, and I don't know if it's the age, I don't know what it is, but I've been saying to you, I'm going through an ugly duckling phase to where I feel like I already think it's unfair to be this age and have to deal with acne, wrinkles, and facial hair as a woman. But my skin is going through changes, and then my hair, I got my hair locked in November. And even though you're warned, it's going to go through all these stages, it's nothing like having to go through these stages. And it's not quite the same as when I went natural. But I have been struggling with my appearance and how I present myself physically. And so those compliments, those words of encouragement, that's meaningful to me, especially now where I am going through all of these changes and I feel like, okay, something needs to be done, but what needs to be done? And I'm too old and tired to do it.
Yeah, and I tell you, as a man, typically men, for the most part, don't need it, but they do. They won't admit it, but they do need that compliment, just to kind of feel like they, have something.
Well, you want to feel
going on.
wanted.
Yeah, you want to feel
desirable. Yeah. So that one hit close to home at this point in time. I keep saying, in a year or so, then I'll get out of this phase, but it's difficult when you're going through life and you have things happening. Like you said, we moved, we have all these things happening, and it's hard to focus on those things that you really want to address. And truth be told, it took us a long time to get to this point when it comes to the weight and things like that. So I know it's not an instant thing to start to reverse those things. But for those of you who are under 40, please form those habits now, because the older you get, the harder it gets. That's just my side note. Anyway, number 4.
Number 4, collaboration. Spouses are forever teammates, so collaboration is a must. Your spouse is the person who loves you most. Who better to strive with? Collaboration. So we have collaborated together to create this podcast. And, the initial idea in the beginning was to just share our story, to put some positivity in the atmosphere about marriage and relationships. And at the time, we had been married 24 years when we initially put the podcast out there. And so the collaborating, for one, I feel like it has helped us work through some things. It has helped us, as we work together to try to create content for these episodes. It allows us to, dig back into our minds to think about those past times, and, able to look at things from a different light, even when we think back to a time, you're like, well, I thought this at that time. And you might be like, well, I thought this at that time. And we have had those moments. So, this collaboration, I know for a fact it has helped us, continue to grow as a couple.
And even before this, we've always functioned as a team. Mm-hmm. And when it came to the kids, when it came to the household, I'm so thankful to have someone who knew or who believed, these things have to be done regardless of who does them. Right. And so we have to eat regardless of who prepares it or who, brings it home. Right. So we've pretty much functioned as a team from the beginning. And then parenting.
Yeah. That could take a whole nother turn because as the kids grew up and started hitting those formative years, those teenage years, they start trying to want to get their way. One of them will come to mama and ask a question. They get a no, then they come to daddy and ask a question. Daddy might be like, well, hold on. Then daddy might go to mama and be like, maybe it might not be too bad. Maybe I'll go with him and see how it's going to be.
Eventually they started going.
Eventually they started.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Dad.
But, just collaborate. Now, one thing we never did is, we would never go against each other. So I was always like, okay, hold on. Let me go check with your mama. Well, what did your mama say? You know what I'm saying? It was never like, I'm just going to do it. And, regardless of what she said. Because, I didn't want to face them consequences. The wrath of Margaret.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I think, too, that collaboration piece, that's when you don't, it helps to ease the power struggles somewhat because there's shared responsibility. Now, I mean, we do have certain things that I tend to do more of, that you tend to do more of, but there's never been a time where we didn't say, well, this didn't get done and it's your fault.
Right. Or if something needed to be done and we just stepped over it for weeks because the person wasn't available. It'll get done when you got time. I ain't going to do it, but we just maintain to make sure that things got done when they need to be done. And that was it.
Yeah. All right. And number 5 is care. Caring can be expressed in different ways. Ask your spouse what makes him or her feel cared for. However you show your spouse care, do it often. Be clear that regardless of anything, he or she is cared for. And I think that's the love languages is one way to be able to do that. And we've taken that quiz a few times throughout the years, and we found that some of the things have shifted, but it's important to understand that just because I appreciate something or I feel loved when something happens, that doesn't necessarily mean that he does.
Right.
And so if getting gifts is what makes me feel loved, but with him, it's quality time. I can buy him gifts till the cows come home, but until I spend time with him, he's still not receiving it in the way that that he feels loved and cared for. And it's not a hard, fast rule or anything. It's just knowing your partner and knowing what things are important to your partner and allowing your partner to feel loved that way and not being not being selfish or inconsiderate.
Yeah. And Karen is also listening, like, when your spouse is going through the day to day and saying things, sometimes they'll say some things that you can kind of listen to and key in on. Okay, she said she had to do this tomorrow. Well, how about I take care of that? That level of care can go a long way as far as listening to your mate and getting those things done to try to make things easier for them.
And that's the key. Is I operate to try and make things easier for you.
Right, and I do the same.
Right.
That has helped us, continue to grow tremendously. Because there's no doubt that I never doubt that you care for me.
Aww.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too. You're all right.
You're all right too. I think I hold on to this one.
You think?
The Marriage First Minute is based on our Marriage First mindset.
This framework describes how we successfully navigated years of marriage while creating a happy, healthy relationship. This Marriage First Minute topic, protecting connection during stress. Communication problems usually aren't just communication problems. A lot of times, couples know how to talk. They just stop feeling emotionally safe, emotionally connected, or emotionally prioritized.
One of the biggest shifts we've learned is asking, what does our marriage need right now, instead of who's right now? That question changes the energy completely.
Sometimes your marriage doesn't need a solution. It needs softness, reassurance, teamwork, and for both people to stop treating each other like opponents.
Quick marriage first tip. Try a 10-minute reconnect before problem solving. Before you discuss bills, schedules, parenting stress, or conflict, sit together, no phones. Ask one question. How are you really doing today?
No fixing, no debating, just listening.
A lot of couples are trying to solve disconnection with logistics, when what they actually need is emotional connection first.
Connection is built in small moments, long before the big conversations happen.
Even during hard seasons, don't stop touching, laughing, checking in, or sitting together. Small connection habits matter.
All right, so this segment, this is for the nerd in me.
All right.
This is our what we're reading segment, and we decided that as we read through books and books from previous guests or relationship books, that we would come on and share a snippet. And our first book,
shameless plug.
Oh, I was about to say you got it up wrong. The first book we want to share with you is just a bit from our book, Unlocking Forever, 10 Keys to a Successful Marriage Beyond I Do. And this kind of flows into what we've been talking about the 5 C's. This particular snippet is from the chapter called Wait What? Communication Really Is Key. And so we're each going to share a little bit from that book and then discuss a little bit in detail how that relates to our topic.
Yes, starting on page 51. Sometimes the most innocent actions can lead to the most detrimental outcomes. Luckily, it didn't to the point of no return. Everything started with a Facebook post, a comment. What began as an innocent post and response quickly grew into more. After a couple of back and forth posts, the conversation moved to Messenger, and eventually we exchanged phone numbers and started communicating via text messages.
While attending graduate school, I began a friendship with one of my classmates. I'd like to say that it started innocently, but it didn't. Almost immediately, this classmate and I were flirting through email, text messages, phone calls, and in person. Because of the shift in our marriage, I quickly allowed another person to filter in. If you have not gotten a copy of the book, the way that the book is written is there's a portion from Byron, there's a portion for me. And then we talk about how these things come to play in our marriage. And so that particular section was a time in our marriage where communication was very difficult for us. And
Yes.
so we kind of shut each other out and we turned to other people outside of our relationship for that listening ear, which of course, I mean, at this stage in life, that listening ear was not necessarily what we were seeking.
Right.
That's how we.
I think it really was like, it was hard for us to really talk to each other and, not wanting to hurt feelings, not wanting to, stir any negative emotions up. But, look what happened. Reaching outside, and once those communications were discovered, then we really had to talk. And I think that was kind of like a shift in our communication, because, it was like, no matter what, we really need to communicate and learn how to do it the correct way.
Avoiding the conversations made that final, it made it harder in the end to come together. And now we have to repair the trust that we've broken.
Right.
And on top of addressing those things at first. And so the communication piece, and then also that plays into connection, because we were not connecting with each other in a way that was feeding our marriage. And so we thankfully, neither of us crossed any lines that were where it was irreparable, but we both did damage to each other and to our trust and to our marriage that we had to then work on and build that trust back in each other and in our relationship. So to learn more about what happened, our book is available on Amazon. And we also did a video about that whole situation.
Yeah,
so
we did.
We'll link that video to this one if you would like to hear more about our experience with not practicing those 5 C's and the outcome.
Right.
Spoiler alert, we're still together.
Yeah. And that was several years ago.
A long time ago.
So, hey.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have those situations and you go through them and you can't come out on the other side and be happy. You just have to work through it,
Yep. You have to put in the effort to make sure, okay, we have to correct, but then we also have to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yep.
Yep.
You have to be intentional. My favorite word.
Yep.
So again, Amazon.com, go get the book. And if you don't need it, buy it for somebody else. All right. So how y'all like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't asking me.
We did it, y'all. We did it. And if you've noticed, our location has changed. So
we'll have to tell y'all all about that.
So what you think about that?
Yep. It's good. We'll also include a link in the description for our book, but also the episode that we referenced if you would like to hear more about our experience when we let outside influences get into our marriage and then what we did to repair them.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. Till next time, we're going to holler at y'all.